Today I'm going to continue working on Learn CSS Intermediate, and I'm going to do the grid project, which is called PupSpa. Number one, let's take a look at the index HTML. We have several divs that contain the content of our website. Find the div with the class grid. So we have here HTML, and here's the div with the class grid. Next, locate divs that share the class box, and the div that shares the class testimonial. Here we have class box address, box hours, box colas, and the classes with testimonial 1 and testimonial 2. Number 2, now let's take a look at our CSS. The first step will be to initialize the grid, and then we're going to specify the number and size of our rows and columns. In Style CSS, inside the .grid rule set, there it is, I'm going to press return and display grid. Number 3, to specify the number and size of the rows inside the .grid rule set, use the grid template rows property with this value. Still inside grid, set grid template columns to 6 equal sections using the FR measurement. To create equal sections, use 6 1FR values. So we're going to use 1FR 6 times. And instead of writing 1FR 6 times, you can actually use the repeat function. Repeat 6 1FR. And we can delete rows and assign this as grid template first value / second value. Now let's fix that broken page layout. The content of the following rule set needs to extend across all 6 columns: header, banner, about, and footer. Add the grid column start and grid column end properties to these rule sets. That start the content at the first column, so 1, and end it at the 6th column, so 7. And we're going to repeat this for .banner, about, and footer. Let's save. Number 7, grid column start and grid column end properties can also be written as a shorthand property. Using grid column property and the span keyword, make .address span the first 2 columns. So we can also change this to grid column 1/7. Address here, they want us to make a span for 2 columns. So we're going to do grid column 1 span 2. And we're going to do the same thing for .hours, except it goes from column 3 and spans 2, and .colos from 5 expanding 2. Number 8, in the .1 and .2 rule sets, use grid column again to have each div span 3 columns. Hint, the .1 div will start in column 1 and span 3 columns, and .2 div will start in column 4 and span the remaining 3 columns. .1 grid column 1 span 3 and .2 4 span 3. Number 9, let's give our content some wiggle room. Return to the .grid rule set, add a gap property of 20 pixels. So we're going to do grid column gap 20 pixels, and that would add a gap between rows and columns. Lastly, it's asking us to turn the boxes with the P elements into grids. Use display properties in the below rule sets to turn them into grids. Header, about, .box, testimonial, footer. So we're just going to add display grid to each of these elements. Let's save, and this is how our page looks like.